The drawing room is one of the most magnificent of all the rooms at Sewerby Hall. Built as an extension in the Regency period, it retains many of its original features. It was a room that was designed to look splendid, and was a showplace where the family could display their wealth and status. Its decoration was the responsibility of the lady of the house, and on it her refinement and taste would be judged. When decorating and furnishing this room, she would tread a fine line between false modesty and the assumption of a higher status than that to which she was entitled, both of which were considered vulgar social blunders. The drawing room served as a focal point in the country house. It was a place where guests assembled before dinner, and where ladies withdrew afterwards before being joined by the men later in the evening. It was a reception room for evening parties, and a daytime sitting room for the lady of the house to receive visitors. And it would have been in this room that Mrs. Lloyd Graham would spend her at-home days. An at-home day was a day set aside by the lady of the house to receive callers. It was not to be confused with an afternoon at home, which was a large-scale tea party. It was the habit of gentlewomen in the Victorian and Edwardian periods to pay calls upon each other. In modern terms, these were networking sessions. They allowed middle and upper-class women to make friendships, alliances and social contacts outside their household. Like so much else in this period, they were governed by complicated societal rules around status and etiquette, and a mistake could result in the caller giving offence and receiving the cold shoulder, an outcome that might be devastating for a lady who was new to the district or one trying to improve her social standing. Women would never pay calls on gentlemen, though it was not considered inappropriate for a gentleman to call on a lady. Termed morning calls, though always actually made in the afternoon between 3 and 6 o'clock, lady callers were expected to observe a strict hierarchy. The hour between 3 and 4 o'clock was set aside for the most formal of callers. This might include those making a new acquaintance or perhaps hoping to ask for a favour. From 4 o'clock till 5, semi-formal callers would be expected, and between 5 and 6, those callers considered friends, who would be received with little overt formality. Calls were often brief, just 15 to 20 minutes. The brevity of the stay was indicated by the fact that women callers would not generally remove their shawls or jackets. Callers would be brought to the drawing room by the butler, who would announce them at the door. The hostess would rise to meet them, shake their hands and offer them a seat near hers. Contrary to the way we might imagine these encounters, it was not considered necessary to serve tea to callers, and it was not expected, though if the caller had come some distance, then it was seen as a politeness to do so. Conversation during these calls would be cheerful and of general interest. Advice manuals warned married women never to discuss the failings of their husbands and to avoid private matters and opinions. After 20 minutes or so, the caller would leave. The hostess would rise with her and shake her hand, but it was not considered necessary to see her to the door.